What is up, Cradix? In this video, I'll be giving a guide for this week's normal time trial, RC Bandito time trial, and the premium race totaling over $300,000. Remember, the time trials can only be completed once a week for the full $100,000 payout. The premium race, however, can be completed in a limited amount of times with a 48-minute cooldown between each win. Also keep in mind that rocket-powered / flying vehicles cannot be used in time trials. So starting off with the time trial this week, which is Pero Pier, I highly recommend either the Hakuchu Drag, Shotaro, Baddie 801, Emerus, Krieger, Pariah, or Itali GTO for this time trial. Now this time trial does cut it pretty close with time, so you're definitely going to need a fast vehicle to complete this. In terms of route, this time trial has a couple shortcuts, but they're very simple and straightforward. Now, I did state in the past that I will be attempting to use the podium vehicle of that event week on these time trials if they're quick enough to complete them. So this week we have the free crawler on the podium, which has a very low top speed. I tried my best. I pushed this thing to its limit, pretty much full throttle around the corners, taking every apex perfectly. I mean, I gave it all I could multiple times, and I just curb boosting everywhere on top of that, and there just isn't enough time in this time trial to beat it with the free crawler. I tried as much as I could, but there just isn't enough time, sadly. I mean, some of my friends who have even done this time trial with supercars, like Entities and Centornos and stuff like that, older supercars, which are still very fast, even they have a hard time beating it. So me beating it in a free crawler probably wasn't going to happen, but I gave it a shot either way. So I made a compromise and I decided to stick with the off-road theme and push my luck and try to beat it in the Camacho, which was a very difficult task, but this one is a lot faster than the free crawler. But even then, again, if lower end supercars are having a hard time beating it, the Camacho is going to have an extremely hard time beating it. But again, this time trial is more intended for quick vehicles, but I like challenges. So nonetheless, here is my run that I barely beat with a fully upgraded Camacho. Moving on to this week's RC Bandito time trial, which is Power Station. As always, you need to own an RC Bandito in order to participate in these. So this RC time trial is pretty tricky if you've never done it before because of the tight sections and the workers walking around and all that stuff pretty much directly in your path, which gets quite annoying. But honestly, just take it slow and you should be able to complete this time trial pretty easily. If you're trying to go very quickly, you are going to have a difficult time. This time trial is not just about speed, it's about consistency. So again, make sure you brake a lot for the tight sections and let off the throttle for many of the areas, including the one where you go off the main jump. This one, the Bandito might not land properly, so just let off the throttle like 3 seconds before that fall and you should be fine. And lastly, when you use your brakes, make sure to press them in about halfway, not all the way, or you might lose control of your Bandito. And lastly, we have this week's premium race, which is a sign of things to come. This one is restricted to the motorcycles class. I highly recommend either the Hakuchu Drag or a Shotaro for this race. This race is pretty difficult and corner intensive as well, so that's why I mainly recommend those two bikes, because they have the speed and the cornering capability on top of that. The Baddie and the Akuma are also good choices if you're on a budget, but again, if you're competing against the Drag and the Shotaro, it's going to be a very difficult task, but again, it all depends on your opponent's skill level. Now this race is a bit tricky if it's been a while since you've done it. I highly recommend practicing the normal version a couple times just to kind of refresh your memory, or if you haven't done it before, definitely practice the normal version before going into this race and possibly losing $20,000. So even for myself, I hadn't done this race in a while, and I got a little confused in one of the off-road sections. You're going to see it in my run, but I still won because I was far enough ahead. But anyways, for this race, I will be using a fully upgraded Shotaro. And that's it, guys. The normal time trial is pretty easy if you use one of the fast vehicles I mentioned. The RC time trial is pretty difficult if you've never done it before, but just take it slow and brake a lot extra for many of the corners. And this week's premium race is pretty easy, but I definitely recommend practicing the regular version a couple times first. Again, remember guys, you can earn over $300,000 between the three this week, and setting yourself to go to beat them is always a lot of fun in my personal opinion. Let me know which one you found most difficult and what vehicles you used down below in the comments. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.